What's up, guys? Good morning. All right, so we've got a few decent movers today. Biggest watch is probably EARS and DARE. You can see EARS is gapping up ears. It is gapping up from 181 to 207. DARE is actually pushing up probably with the most volume that I see so far in pre-market. Closed at 107 yesterday. It's at 137 now. And GPT is also gapping up as well. Looks like possibly an acquisition or a merger with the GPT though, so we'll see what happens. I'll have to look up the catalyst for that one. Then we have NOG gapping up from 175 all the way to 195, and you can see DARE is still kind of pushing up strong here. What's up, unknowns? Isades, MV, Philip, good morning. We got a few other ones I'm watching. UAVS. FSNN, MSCC, MTBC, BSPM, and CHEK. And so that's my watch list so far. Still kind of looking to see what I can find. I'll go ahead and add my watch list to the chat so far. This is what I'm watching so far. Let's see if any of these are actually tradable. I'm hoping some of them are. Alright, so GPT is, EARS is not, NOG is not, DARE is not. That's super disappointing. UAVS is, BSPM is not, FSNN is not. Great. Nothing is tradable this morning. The only one that's tradable is MSCC. The rest of these really nice gappers are not tradable. So super frustrating. Good morning, Wilkin. Just a bummer. I mean, I could watch GPT if it's not an acquisition or a merger for a washout, but it looks pretty mergery. And I guess I could watch UAVS, but all of these ones that I really wanted to trade, like EARS. I know ears used to be tradable, so did NOG. For some reason, they just decided to take these off. I don't know why. MSCC is probably the biggest watch now, but super frustrating. Only one out of these four that I'm watching are tradable. Good morning, Sean. Yeah, so I'm just going to start looking at gap downs to see if I can find any good gap downs, maybe for a gap down continuation, since a lot of these aren't tradable. Very frustrating. Was kind of excited. There was a lot of gappers in the market. Maybe going to watch TSEM, IMTE, FMSA. Maybe SBGL. Yeah, there's just not, aside from these big gappers that I found, there's just not too many that are tradable. I can watch some of them on Robinhood. And yeah, MV. I'll probably look for a dip buy with some of these, depending on how they act and how the SPY acts, you know. Just aggravating though. None of these are actually tradable on TradeNet, which NOG looks like a higher float stock. I'm surprised it's not tradable. DARE would have been nice to trade as well as EARS. So would FSNN, but none of these are actually tradable. I mean, the biggest watch now is probably MSCC. After this gap, maybe for a short if it starts to fall. Good morning, D. Evan. TSEM. Yeah, TSEM is probably one of the biggest ones I'm watching too. Yeah, I'm watching FSNN, but I can't trade it on TradeNet, unfortunately. CHEK, I don't know. You know, this one has... If I did buy CHEK, it would be for a longer term, maybe swing trade, although that's very, very risky, just because this thing has gone up from $4 to $20 back down to $4. And so it's right back where it started, which is kind of, you know, a very common pattern with a lot of these penny stocks. We'll see, you know. Hopefully I can find a few more that are tradable. VRX maybe, but the gap's a very small gap with VRX. I'm sure it is tradable though. Yeah. CLDR gapping. Drip, maybe for a continuation short. If I can trade this one. Nope, can't trade drip either. It's weird. Sometimes, some days, almost everything on my watch list will be tradable. And then some days, nothing is. TWIN is tradable. It looks like today's one of those days where not much is. Even TWIN, a $27 stock, looks low float, is not tradable. So ACHV's gapping some. I mean, generally there's some stocks that start running at the open. I'm just going to have to watch those. The thing I have to be careful with, though, CRNT maybe. The thing I have to be careful with is not forcing trades when I don't see any of my setups going on. You know, I've had a really good week last week. I only had one losing trade all last week, so all the other trades were winning trades, and all the other days were profitable except for one day last week, one losing trade. And so I have a little bit of momentum, but the biggest thing I need to be careful with is not forcing trades when I don't see my setups. If I can't trade any of these stocks that I really like, I have to just wait for good setups. And so it all depends on what GPT and MSCC are doing here. If they're acquisitions or mergers, I'm not going to like them as much, but we'll see. Depending on how volatile the SPY and the TVIX are, maybe I'll try to get in on the SPY and TVIX pairs trade. You know, SPY's gapping up a small amount, so gonna keep an eye on that maybe for a pairs trade on the SPY and the TVIX. KOOL looked good. Not tradable either. Man, nothing's tradable today on TradeNet, unfortunately. QURE maybe. UWT. DNR. Alright, so DNR is tradable, but the gap is small. Alright, so let's look up to see why some of these are moving. LFVN. CVGI looks overextended. Yeah, this one does. Not tradable either, man. Nothing's tradable today. Seems like maybe they recently like restricted some stocks on here. I don't know. Good morning, Tiny. Good morning, Best. Mark. Mitch. All right, so let's look up the news on some of these. Let's see why some of these are moving. I'm going to start with the biggest movers, which are EARS, even though I still can't trade them, but I'll look to see why they're moving. All right, so EARS, which is Eris Medical, receives positive scientific advice from EMA on development plan and regulatory pathway for AM111. Eris Medical Holdings, a clinical stage company dedicated to developing therapeutics that addresses unmet medical needs in neurology, announced today that the company has received positive scientific advice from the Committee for Medicinal Products for Human Use. So that's good news for EARS. That's ultimately why it's gapping up. Let's move on to another one. DARE is moving a lot so far in pre-market. DARE enters into agreement to acquire product to address vulvar and vaginal atrophy in hormone receptor positive breast cancer patients. All right, so it's acquiring a product, DARE, and because of that, it's gapping up. So that's ultimately why DARE is moving. It's acquiring a product. Next, let's look at GPT. Yeah, just what I thought. This is kind of a bummer. I said it looked kind of acquisition-y and mergery. GPT, Gramercy Property Trust enters into definitive agreement to be acquired by Blackstone for $27.50 per share in a $7.6 billion transaction. So it's an acquisition. It probably won't move too much. It's sitting right around that $27.50 level, and it hasn't really budged since. So for that reason, I'm taking GPT off my watch list. It's just an acquisition, so it most likely won't move too much. For a long setup, maybe UAVS. You know, maybe it's gapping up some. Small gap, though, so we'll see. All right, so the next one I'm watching is MSCC. Micro Semi and Sci-Fi launch High-Five Unleashed expansion board, enabling Linux software and firmware developer to build RSCV PCs for the first time. A leading provider of semiconductor solutions differentiated by power, security, reliability, and performance, today announced the launch of the High-Five Unleashed expansion board, its latest collaboration with Sci-Fi, the first fabless provider of customized open source enabled semiconductors. And so for that reason, MSCC is gapping up some. I don't know if it's a big enough gap to really consider it a short opportunity, but we'll see how it acts at the open. FSNN, next one I'm watching, gapping up some. Not the most volume, but it's moving some. Alright, so FSNN is up because it says they announced the closing of Birch acquisition. Announced today that on May 4th, 2018, it closed its previously announced acquisition of the cloud and business service business of Birch Communications Holdings. The acquisition was completed through a merger of a wholly owned subsidiary of Fusion with an info Birch or I don't know what this thing's saying. The total enterprise value of this transaction was approximately $600 million, consisting of approximately 50 million shares of Fusion common stock and the refinancing of 444 million of Birch indebtedness. And so I guess they closed their acquisition, and for that reason they're gapping up some. Looking at MTBC here, it's moving some. MTBC signs acquisition agreement that could increase revenues by at least 50%. And so you can see they're gapping up as well. Looks interesting. I don't think I could trade this one either. No, that one's not tradable, unfortunately, for me either. Which nothing seems to be this morning. And that's it. That's the last one I really want to go over. None of the other ones are really moving enough, so NOG maybe. I don't know if I went over NOG. Alright, so this is up on first quarter earnings. NOG is up on good earnings. Up 11% as earnings beat Street View, lifts 2018 production guidance. So NOG is ultimately up on earnings. I'm surprised they took off NOG. NOG used to be tradable on TradeNet, but for some reason they removed it. Good morning, outsiders. Yeah, I'm definitely watching Dare. Nice, unknowns. Good job, man. Yeah, VVPR. You know, starting to come back down some. You know, this is a lot of times. Last week was crazy, so I'm sure this week will hopefully be a little bit better. Not better than last week, but will hopefully be decent as well. But, you know, maybe it might calm down this week. We'll see. TWIN maybe. I think I looked at this one. I don't think it's tradable. Nope, not tradable for me. GPT, already looked that one up. GTHX. WPX. Spiking some this morning. We'll see if it follows through here. Maybe gonna watch PTLE or PTLA. It's tradable, so maybe watch it. Very small gap. Only a few percent, it looks like. Alright, so there is some news out on LFIN. It says LFIN is voluntarily delisted from the NASDAQ. Let's see if I can find the actual story. Yeah, this came out on the 3rd, so 4 days ago. It says Longfin Corporation announced today that it intends to voluntarily delist Class A common stock from NASDAQ, and to this effect, the company has already sent in a formal notice to the NASDAQ stock market. The ticker symbol for Class A common stock of Longfin is LFIN. The company believes that it is preferable for the Class A common stock to trade on the over-the-counter market as soon as possible, as opposed to proceeding with an extended review process with the NASDAQ stock market. Yeah, big scam, man. LFIN. They're voluntarily delisting from the NASDAQ, and now they want to jump on the OTC market. But, man, I wouldn't touch that stock. I wonder how much it's going to be listed for. LPCN. Yeah, it's moving up some. I might keep an eye on it. Doubt I can trade this one either, though. Man, today's just, I'm struggling to find stuff to trade. MNGA. It's weird. MNGA is a 66-cent stock, but it's tradable. Hey, I might watch MNGA, though. It's gapping up some. Might as well keep an eye on it if I can trade it. For real, unknowns. Man, they don't want me to make money today, man. Nice, unknowns. Good job, man. APRN, Christian. Yeah, APRN gapping up some. I don't think this one's tradable on TradeNet either, though. It's sitting right around the high of Friday. No, it's not tradable either. Weird. Yeah, I'm just going to have to look to see what starts moving at the open and try to take advantage of maybe a long setup. We'll have to just watch it that way. Not a lot tradable on TradeNet for me. Thanks for the sub. Oh, appreciate it. And NS Anderson, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for the donation, man. Shout out to NS Anderson for the $10 donation. Thanks, man. Yeah, I'm watching Dare for sure. But yeah, NS Anderson, appreciate it, man. Thanks for the dono, man. That's awesome. Show yourself, man. Talk a little bit. I haven't seen you in the chat. Appreciate it, man. Fit for a continuation. Yeah, Fit's just such a high float stock. It's going to be tough. Oh, sorry. Thanks, NS. I appreciate it. That's awesome. It means a lot. Yeah, sorry. I always tend to say man and guys after everything. It's just probably a bad habit that I get into, but I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Hope you had a good weekend as well, Track Racer. Yeah, I'm looking at MTBC. At first, I really didn't like it, but it started to push up since then. If you look at MTBC here. But yeah, NS, if you ever need any help with trading, I'm not saying I'm an expert with trading at all, but if you ever have any questions, if you're brand new, or if you ever have any questions about what kind of setups I use or anything like that, just let me know. You can always message me on Facebook or Twitter, and I'll do my best to help as much as possible. And thanks again for the donation. I really appreciate it. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm watching MTBC and FSNN. I'm going to have to jump in some of these on Robinhood most likely. Try to take advantage of some of these. But yeah, for some reason, I guess TradeNet just doesn't want me trading today. There's just not a lot that actually is tradable on TradeNet. Oh yeah, I'm definitely watching here, Christian. And MTBC looks interesting over 395. It's right around there now, and that's the high of pre-market, so that's kind of where I'm watching that one. Mark, my Twitter handle is @beginnertrades. Here, I'll go ahead and add it. That's my Twitter handle. Facebook is facebook.com/beginnertrades. Yeah, I thought you may be joking, Thomas. Get out of here with that, man. I thought you may be joking. I thought it looked a little sketchy. All right, so yeah, HEAR. Not HEAR. I was watching ears. HEAR. I got ears and here mixed up. HEAR looks a little extended actually. HEAR. So maybe look at it for a short under $6 is really where I'm watching it for. You can see it had a lot of support. Bounced off 598 here. Bounced directly off of 6 here. So maybe under 6 down to 580. Let's see. Maybe down to 580, 565 maybe. What's up, Power Zone? Yeah, LFIN, they want to get on the OTC market as soon as possible. And so for that reason, I mean, it's a very common pattern here. I mean, blockchain stocks, especially this year and the last year, have been going kind of crazy. Some more blockchain stocks are MARA, DPW, I think, is a blockchain stock. TEUM, if I remember correctly. I can't say for 100% certainty, but I think those are blockchain stocks as well. But yeah, LFIN, I mean, it had probably the craziest move in the blockchain world. If you look at the daily chart, this thing went up to 142, back down to 34, back up to 75, back down to 8, back up to 28. And so just huge swings in LFIN. It was bound to get delisted eventually. Just obvious manipulation, you know what I mean? It's just obvious, very obvious manipulation. Watching MNGA here for maybe a bounce. What's up, Frank? Yeah, you just now saw that, unknowns. I typed it in trying to see if it was actually stocks, but I thought it looked a little sketchy when I first looked at it. Good morning, T-Dot. Good morning, Nasio. Welcome. But yeah, I'm kind of watching MNGA. I can't trade any of these, DARE. You know, my favorite ones are these three. Really, my favorite ones, if I had a choice, were these four. These are probably the ones with the most volume and the nicest gap. NOG, MTBC, DARE, and EARS. Unfortunately, I can't trade any of these. And so, you know, I'm kind of looking at MNGA. Just because I rarely get to trade stocks under $1 on TradeNet. And for some reason, all those other ones aren't, but MNGA is tradable, so go to watch that for sure. But right now, maybe MNGA, UAVS, you know, keep an eye on some of these. Yeah, maybe so tiny. But yeah, let me know if you guys see anything else. I think that's the majority of gappers in the market right now. RIG maybe for a long. Gonna watch that. If you like these more expensive stocks, you can see ATHN here. Big volume spike. You know, and I may try to get in short. I rarely ever take these expensive stocks. And so since this is one of the big gappers that I can actually trade, may look to get in short on this one if it breaks under 150. Well, we've got a few options. I'll try to take advantage of what I can trade. PYPL map. Yeah, this one, I might keep an eye on this one as well. Neseo, NES, I kind of just like, for shorts, I mean, my basic short strategy is to look for stocks that are overextended in pre-market. A good example of that is, what was it this morning? DARE, D-A-R-E. I kind of look for stocks that are overextended like this in pre-market, and then I short them when they break the lows of the day. But I always try to wait for the stock to break under the low of the day and then hold that previous low as resistance. So I want to see the previous support at the low of the day turn into resistance, and from there, that's kind of ultimately when I like to short it. For long setups, I more so look for small gaps. I like to look for small gaps and maybe get in at the high of the pre-market. But it has to be a small gap. It can't be really extended, because most of the time, at least in my opinion, when a stock is gapped up too much, most of the time it ends up failing. And so it tries to fill at least some of that gap going down. And so I like to get in going short if the gap is overextended, and if the gap is a small gap and has the potential to run and the daily doesn't look as extended, that's kind of when I like to go in for a long setup. One of my favorite long setups is actually the 1 minute pullback. So essentially, I like waiting to see the stock start to run at the open. And then I like to see one consolidation red candle, and I like getting in after the break of that first red candle after a big run. After it breaks the high of that red candle. What do you mean, Track Racer? You can open more boxes. What do you mean? I have dual monitors, so I have 4 here, and I have 6 on the other monitor. So I have a decent amount that I'm actually watching. You just can't see my second monitor. I have 2 monitors set up. GoPro. Yeah, GoPro had a big day Friday. Good earnings, you said? Yeah, watching it under 540 and over this high of Friday at 554. Maybe watch that one for a long, very small gap up. Good morning, NYC. BPMX has so much volume today. I mean, BPMX is interesting. Biggest level I'm watching is over 21 if it can ever get there. Maybe over 20. We'll see. I'm watching MSCC maybe for a short, depending on how it looks at the open as well. If it can break under this 68 level, maybe short it. Your second monitor is for Better Call Saul? 7. Nice, dog. Congrats, man. That's awesome trade, bro. Yeah, no worries, dog. Appreciate it, man. It's good, Matt. Yeah, it's good, man. I got like 30 or 40 packages I got to pack up today. But, you know, more work is a good thing for my Amazon business. Alright, so yeah, watching MSCC maybe under 68. UAVS, kind of looking at this one. I'm a little torn whether I like it long or short. If it breaks under 2 and looks weak, maybe get in for a short down to 180. On UAVS, if it breaks under this, maybe down to here or even down to here at 161. Not a bad risk reward trade. Looks like a little bit over 1 to 1 if you got in short under 182 if it does drop that low. Okay, track racer. Alright guys, we got about 3.5 minutes until the open. Alright, so we'll see what we can find. Not a great day as with regard to how many stocks I can actually trade on TradeNet. We don't have too many that are actually tradable today for me. Somebody asked me what the setup was for MNGA. I'm just looking at it gapping up some. Very low volume. To be honest, I don't like it that much. The only reason I'm watching it is because it's gapping up first of all, but it's a stock under $1 that I can actually trade on TradeNet, and so that's actually pretty rare. And so just for that reason alone, I'm watching MNGA. But you know, it's not my favorite setup by far today for sure. Yeah, I'm watching FSNN John Carlo. It's at 485 now. It's on my other monitor. TSEM. Yeah, I mean, this one is tough because I usually like to get in at the low of the day with these big gap downs or maybe a bounce back, rebound play, but there's not really too many ways. Like, I can look at it over 23, but then it has some resistance here at 23.15. And I don't know if it's going to get as low as this 21.75 low or 21.78 low. And so this one's kind of tough for me to make up my mind with TSEM. We'll see. I mean, I'm going to watch it, but it's kind of tough to decide, really, you know. Got some I can trade. I'm just going to try to find what I can find and not force anything if I don't see any good setups. BLNK. Oh, I didn't see BLNK. I kind of like this one. I mean, it's gapping up from 148 to 2. Right now, 196 basically, up 50 cents, so a big gap. Um, I'm just watching it, maybe under 180 for a short, over 220 for a long. Don't really know yet. Don't know how I really feel about it, but like the gap up, decent volume. So we'll see what happens with it. Not the biggest gap, but I mean, it's enough to have some profit targets there. Unfortunately, it's not tradable for me. Alright guys, market's opening up in 10 seconds. Good luck, everyone. Here's the open. Alright, so UAVS initial drop after pushing up to 241. GoPro starting to crash too. Not crash, but fall. Looking at FSNN, it's breaking over the pre-market high. It's at 510 now. Big drop on UAVS. Watching MSCC here. See what I can find with that one. CHEK, maybe a continuation short under 450 if it drops that low. Had a lot of support there previously. Maybe a washout long on MSCC actually, though. It's starting to head up. Just broke the high of the day. Let's see what the SPY's doing. SPY's washing some, falling down. With that, I expect a lot of these other stocks to start falling, especially higher float stocks. GoPro starting to crack under this low at 540. DARE dropping initially. SPY starting to bounce back here. TSEM starting to fall some. FSNN starting to fall. Yeah, that's what I'm doing kind of today. I'm watching the SPY and the TVIX today. The SPY starting to bounce back. Look for the TVIX to possibly drop some. TVIX should be starting to drop if the SPY does keep heading up. If the SPY goes down, the TVIX should rebound here. We'll see. Alright, SPY's bouncing, TVIX dropping. VVPR pushing up some, VVPR. Look at VVPR, big volume spike starting to head up. It's at 294. It's testing the whole dollar now. I think I can trade this one if I remember correctly. No, I can't, unfortunately. I thought I could. So no VVPR for me. Alright, so there's the break of the whole dollar on the SPY. The TVIX should continue to fall here. Alright, there's the push break of the whole dollar on VVPR. It's up to 313. Big pullback. Watching RIG here, it just broke the high of the day. Kind of keep an eye on RIG here. Try to wait for a little 1 minute pullback on RIG if I do decide to get into it. Got to be careful though. I don't really want to force anything. LPI. LPI pushing up. This is a good example of a 1 minute pullback. So you can see it started to run, had this one consolidation red candle, broke that right here, and then pushed up. And so this is a good example of a 1 minute pullback for whoever was asking. I can't remember who was asking about it, about my long and short setups. But you see this little red candle right here? That's when I usually like to get into these setups. But VVPR pushing up pretty strong here. MOSY pushing up as well. It's at 170. Man, they must have taken some off of trading it. Mosey used to be tradable as well. Watching TSEM here. Breaking under the lows. All right, so there's a little 1 minute pullback on LPI again as well. We'll see if it continues to push here. All right, so LPI is tradable. Up to 964. Yeah, MNGA is just not really moving much. GUSH has been running pretty strong here. GUSH at 35.34. SPY's pushing up strong. TVIX should be washing, I believe. TVIX is actually bouncing, which is strange with that big push on the SPY. I guess the SPY had a pullback, but the SPY is continuing to push up. Very small range on the TVIX so far, though. YUMA. YUMA getting a volume spike here. I know this one used to be tradable in TradeNet. It's not anymore either. Weird. SPY's actually really, really strong right now, guys. CHEK watching it under this 450 level if it ever gets under there. What's up, flying cameraman? Yeah, CHEK, if it drops under 450, I like it for a short, but we'll see. You know, gonna give it a little bit of time. Honestly, I don't like too much right now in the market. I don't see too much I really like. But man, look at the SPY. SPY is acting really strong today. Good. It needed that. Yeah, SN. Appreciate that. SN looking nice as well. Maybe time for a bounce on SN. Looks tradable on TradeNet as well. Let's see if I'm right. SN is tradable. Yeah, higher float stocks usually are. Gonna watch SN for a bounce here. There's MSCC. This is kind of the short I was looking at. Okay, so MSCC, I want to see it break under this low, and then I want to see that previous low hold as support. Thank you. And so that's kind of what I'm watching with MSCC now. Like I said, I want to see it break under that low at 67.85, and then I want to see that area act as resistance. So I want to see that previous low turn into resistance once it breaks under there. So that's kind of what I'm looking for with MSCC. There's the break under. The break was just too big though. I mean, there's the bounce. Let's give it some time to act as resistance. Back up there. Give it some time here, see if it cracks under there again and starts to head back down. DARE. Yeah, DARE, it was just, this is a big kind of crucial level right here at 125. I usually like to short these stocks that are overextended like that at the open. That's why I was kind of bummed out. That's kind of where my overextended short setup comes from, is like when a stock is overextended like this, I like to see it kind of wash some at the open, and it usually does. And so, yeah, I mean, it all depends on how well it can hold that 120 support, 125, 120 support is what I'm kind of looking for. I didn't really want to see this bounce on MSCC. Unfortunately, it broke over that previous low, and that's why it's important to wait. So, I'm going to wait maybe for another low of the day break on MSCC. I'll give it a little bit of time here. The SPY is just acting really nice here. SPY's being really, really strong. What's up, T-Dot? Yeah, man, I'm smoking an e-cig right now, man. It's just nicotine, not that other stuff. Not that I have anything against the other stuff, but it's just nicotine, man. Yeah, watching SN now for a bounce. Really want to see it get over 350 first, though. Hey, man, I got kids, man. I'm in Texas. I'm not about to do that other stuff. It's just nicotine. Alright, so the SPY may pull back some here. It's been really strong this morning. We'll see. SN kind of watching for this break of 348. More importantly, 350 is what I'm kind of watching for. Yeah, I just use the views, like the disposable ones. I just buy the views ones. That's what I'm using now. It's called views. I used to have the ones where you would put the e-juice in, but with kids, man, I don't want my kids finding the e-juice and it's all sweet and they might think it's like candy or something. And so I just buy the disposable ones now just because it's too much of a risk with kids filling those up with e-juice and stuff. NVDA. NVDA is really strong with the SPY. It's basically following the SPY. Kind of watching CHEK here, maybe for a break under the low at 450. WFT. Yeah, WFT's been kind of slowly grinding up nicely today. Not the most volume, but it's been pushing up some. VVPR. All right, so there's the break on SN. So now that it broke that, the really crucial level I'm watching is 350 for SN. Yeah, I'm looking at VVPR now. It's kind of bummed out. Like, really, I would have liked to short DARE. EARS just being a little crazy. Don't really like that one. Snap. Yeah, Snap's been washing. I made a little bit of money on this one. I think it was Friday. I don't know if it was Friday or Thursday, but last week I made some money on Snap. BLNK. Oh yeah, I forgot about BLNK. I like BLNK if it breaks the lows here, just because it broke under the low of the day at 195, and now it's holding that area as resistance, really at $2. And so I kind of like that. But today hasn't been great. I mean, I just don't see too much I like that I can trade. You know, I see some stuff I like, but the stuff I like is not tradable. DRIP. Man, look at DRIP wash here. I missed that. That's the short to take, man. All depends on how it acts right here. It's just down so much already. It's the only thing. SMRT, Steinmart. Yeah, it's flagging a little bit. All right, so there's SN getting over 350. Gonna see if it holds support there now, is really what I'm kind of looking for. There goes DRIP. Yeah, a good short would have been the TVIX today. If you look at the TVIX, I mean, actually not really. I think I'd like just jumping in the actual SPY itself. TVIX isn't really following the SPY that well today. SPY's pushing up huge, and the TVIX, I mean, it's down some, but not down like I want it to be if the SPY's running up this much. SPY pulling back some now. LPI. LPI pushing up nice. Yeah, you guys know me. Usually I get into at least one position every day. But today I just don't see much I really like, honestly. At least not so far. I mean, I'm still looking, obviously, but whether it's I can't trade it on TradeNet or just I don't see a good setup, I just don't see much I really like this morning. Hopefully there'll be a few more setups. I'll wait and hopefully see something. Appreciate the sub, Kevin. Welcome, man. Yeah, that's what I think as well, Salty. Yesterday, the volatility was crazy, at least in penny stock land. I don't know about the SPY's volatility, but uh, volatility is not as great today as it was last week, at least so far. SRPT. Yeah, SRPT breaking the highs here. You're going on a book run insurance? Yeah, SRPT's pushing up at 91.69 now. Kind of watching DRIP, see if it breaks the lows again and falls back down if it can't hold over to 750. SRPT up to 91.98. PSTG, look at this volume spike in PSTG. Starting to head up some. Maybe watching drip under the lows here. It's just down so much already though. I don't really like getting in stocks that are already this extended. I guess I'll give it some time if it breaks under the lows. It's at 745, 747. VVPR trying to push as well. Still watching CHEK here, waiting for this low break at 950. If it does get under there and hold that 950 area as resistance, I might jump in there. SPY's bouncing back, trying to break the highs of the day again. GDS breaking the highs of the day. You see GDS getting some volume here. It's up to 31.13. TSEM maybe for a bounce play here. It's got a lot of room to fill on TSEM. So if it gets over 23 and starts pushing up, maybe jump in it. Alright, so watching DRIP pretty closely here. If it breaks under these lows and then holds it as resistance, I might jump in there on TSEM. Also watching, or on DRIP. Also watching CHEK here for a low of the day break. Man, look at the level 2 on DRIP. It's got to be a higher float stock, but look at the ask. 25,000 order on the ask. CTSH, Zach. Oh, DRIP is an ETF. Is it? Really? I didn't know that. Let's see what kind of ETF. Oh, it is an ETF. It looks like it does the opposite of what the SPY does. And that makes sense now that I look at it. Appreciate you letting me know that. So it's kind of like the, you know, if you look at the SPY here, it's the opposite of what the SPY is doing. So it's an ETF. But yeah, it does the opposite of the SPY basically. That would have been the one to short as the SPY was pushing up if I would have known that. But appreciate you letting me know though, man. CTSH. Now this one on the other hand looks interesting as well. If it can break under here and hold that area as resistance, gonna watch that as well. EGC. Yeah, low volume, but it had a nice little run up about $1. SPY still pushing up. I may look to jump in TSEM here with a few shares, maybe a longer term trade just to let it work, just with a small share size. Like maybe 20 shares. Alright, so I'm keeping an eye on TSEM still, CTSH, and DRIP, even though it is an ETF. It tends to do the opposite of what the SPY does, and so with that, kind of watching the SPY here, see if the SPY continues. There's the break on CTSH. ECYT, I completely missed this one today, but you can see this one's been really, really strong, up to 11.89 from 10.87, so up about $1. Still kind of patiently waiting for CHEK to break under this 450 low right here. Yeah, me either, 7. The market just hasn't been giving me anything to really trade this morning, so still kind of waiting. I mean, I'm watching a few now that have the potential for me to jump in, like CTSH. If it ends up holding that previous lowest resistance, I may consider jumping in there. It all just depends. DARE. Yeah, it just kind of shows, this is why I like these overextended short setups. Alright, so I am in CTSH with 20 shares. Small share size, gonna try to let it work. Um, it looked to hold that previous lowest support, but if it pushes back over it, I'll end up getting out for a small loss. If it does end up bouncing back here. There's a bounce. So yeah, if it pushes over this previous resistance or this previous support, I'm just going to jump out at 77.60. We'll give it some time, let it test. Alright, so you can see it's continuing to drop here. The spread's getting a little bit worse, but it's continuing to drop. We'll see if it continues down more. Target maybe at 77. Alright, so it's now to 77.35. Still trying to wait and give it that time, but it's trying to bounce.
So what could that mean if they're not going to drop?
You can see DRIP starting to break under the lows here as well. SPY must be pushing up. Alright, still waiting to see if CTSH can break under these lows and fall some more.
So if anything, you're coming here because you have food access.
Alright, there's the drop under the lows. We'll see if it can keep falling here. Give me some more profit.
If any are in there, we'll take them off, reset it, and we'll do that Friday.
That would be awesome. That's great news then, if that's the case.
Yeah, it's not uncommon for us on cash, so you know, if you were still hearing noises, then it would be a different story.
Yeah. Is there anything?
What?
Ooh, I want to see it.
You want to see it?
Yeah.
We got the exterminator here, so sorry if I have to keep muting it back and forth. I don't really like this bounce in CTSH. I mean, I want to give it a little bit of time here, but preferably I'd like it to break under that low. There we go. Let's see if it breaks. There we go. Nice break. I'm going to go ahead and get out there for a very small win of $5.20. So not too bad. Probably should have used a little bit larger sizing with this one, but I'm not upset with taking gains. I really didn't see too much I necessarily liked in the market right now, so still kind of waiting, trying to find those good setups. Isadis, you say, are your vids for someone who has never traded and is not completely familiar with setting TOS up? Sometimes I have a few videos on how to set up Thinkorswim. My videos, man, they're more so like I'm a new trader for the most part. I've only been trading regularly for about 9 months, 10 months actually. And so my channel is really just a resource for new traders. I'm not an expert. I'm not claiming to be a guru or an expert or anything like that. I'm just letting people watch me trade and kind of showing people what has worked for me and what has not worked for me. And one thing that has definitely worked, as you can see by the last trade, is when the stock breaks under the low of the day and then holds that previous low. You can see the previous low was at 77.60. It held that previous low as resistance. So previous support turned into resistance. You can see when it tried to break back over 77.60, it got rejected. And that's ultimately why I shorted this one on the way down. That's probably been my most profitable trade thus far in the market. It's the one that has definitely given me the best results, but I'm not saying, it's going to work 100% of the time because everybody knows it won't, but it works a high percentage of the time for me. And although you see me using small sizing, it's important to find consistency first. And so if you can find consistency using small share size, you can find it using larger share size. So it's just kind of taking the time to, learn what works and what doesn't. And then from there, I can use bigger sizing. But I'm still in kind of that stage where I'm just trying to test out my setups and patterns, see what works, use a small share size with real money, and see what works. I've tried to make the leap to using bigger share size before, but, I usually end up having pretty bad days when I try bigger sizing. But, I've only had, out of the last 6 trading days, I've only had 1 loss using this setup. And so it may be time for me to use larger sizing. I've definitely been showing a lot of consistency lately, even though my gains are very, very small. But yeah, it's, we'll see what happens. See you, Tiny. Appreciate it, Tiny. Have a good day. I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for all the support. LGCY is running. BLNK. Man, wow, look at BLNK's bounce there. Huge, crazy bounce. Looks like it's squeezing some of the shorts out, or it had some good news. We'll see. SPY's pulling back some. Yeah, is BLNK halted? It looks halted. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with just sitting back, Charles. Until I saw that CTSH trade, like I said, I didn't really see anything I liked either. And so there's nothing wrong with just kind of sitting back and observing the market instead of just forcing trades. You don't always have to get into anything. You don't always have to trade every day. So, nothing wrong with just sitting back. All right, so is BLNK resumed now? Was it halted? I can't tell. There goes CHEK. This is another one I missed. I was focusing on CTSH. Like I said, I really wanted to short it under 450. The only thing that makes me not want to get into this one is because I didn't see that confirmation. Like usually I like to see it push back up and get rejected where that previous support was. And in this case, it just cracked under it and just continued falling. So I don't know if I would have jumped in CHEK. Maybe I got out of CTSH a little bit early, but nothing wrong with me taking a little bit of profit there. Asadis. So basically, like the strategy I use, it waits for it to break under the low of the day. So you can see there was a lot of support here at 760. So you can see it bounced off of 760 here, bounced off here, bounced off here, right at 760. Okay, so when it finally cracked under 760, what I want to see after that is I want to see it try to test that 760 area again. So I'd like to see it bounce under 760 and then actually try to break over 760 again. But I want to see it get rejected. So with technical analysis, you want to see previous support, which it had at 760, turn into resistance once it breaks under it. So you can see it was support at 760, it would bounce off of 760, and then when it broke under it finally, instead of acting as support, that previous support turned into resistance. So instead of bouncing over 760, it held under it. You can see it tested it here and here, and both times it got rejected. And so that's kind of my confirmation, and I like to get in when it breaks the low after that. And so like right here, under at 77.45. And so that's kind of what I look for with that setup. You know, I'm not saying you always have to do that. Like if you look at CHEK, another one I was preaching about this morning was CHEK under 450. This one didn't do that. So like I said, I don't know if I would have wanted to jump in this one. You can see this one just cracked under it and just kept falling, never really tested it again. But what I found is that when you let it test, and once you see that confirmation, that previous support turn into resistance, the trade's much more reliable, at least in my opinion, after that. Yeah, no worry, Asadis. Yeah, I always have to say, you know, I'm not an investment professional. I do not give investment advice for profit, and you always have to make your own assessment of the market. I'm not liable for any losses anybody takes in this chat room. I always have to say that for liability reasons. And but I understand. I mean, this is just what I do. This is just my style of trading. It may not work for you, and so you got to take that into consideration. And like I said, I'm not an expert trader by any means. I've only been trading for about 10 months regularly. And so I'm just showing my viewers what works for me. You know what I mean? And this is what works for me. Like I said, if you watched the stream the last week, in the last 6 days of trading, I've only had one losing trade. Literally only one losing trade. I've had 5 winning days out of 6, and only one day I only had one losing trade. The rest of my trades in the last 6 days have all been profitable trades, although small gains, but gains nevertheless. And so, you know, my mentality is that if you can make consistent gains with small sizing, you can make consistent gains with big sizing. You know, some people make fun of me for using really small sizing, and while I kind of understand why, you know, the same people that make fun of me are the people that are going all in every trade, taking massive losses because they're so desperate to be like all these other pro traders that they see, even though they're still new traders. And so there's nothing wrong with taking small sizing while you're still new for the most part and learning. And then once you get that consistency down with small sizing, you know, then it's just learning how to use bigger sizing and handling the emotions that come with that. Philip, no, not really. I mean, I just let people watch me trade. You know, like I said, I'm not an expert. I don't have any courses. You know, I put out video lessons, and it's just stuff that I have learned that works for me. You know, so I have a bunch of video lessons out. I usually post them on the weekends. But like I said, I'm not a, you know, expert trader or a guru or anything like that. I'm just a new trader, and I just let people I'll let my viewers watch me trade, and so that's all I really do. Not an expert, and just so people can see what it's like trading for a new trader, they may be able to see what works for me, kind of learn stuff from the setups and strategies I use, you know. But But yeah, after this, guys, I'm probably going to go ahead and close the stream down now. It's 10:15 market time. Yeah, I had a really nice push. I always say this, but every time I look at I's daily chart, I think it's extended. But it just keeps on heading up, so not going to short that one for sure. But yeah, guys, I'm going to go ahead and close the stream down now. Appreciate everybody watching. If you haven't already, make sure you hit the subscribe button. I day trade live on stream every weekday morning at 8:45 a.m. market time. And if you appreciate this content and like watching me trade and want to help support us, hit the like button on this video. It definitely helps support us, and I appreciate any support I can get. So click the like button right now. Everybody do me a favor. Click the like button, and I appreciate it if you do. But yeah, guys, another small gain today. That is 5 out of 6 days in the last week and a day that have been profitable. So hopefully I can keep this momentum going. I've been doing pretty well this last week or so. So anyways, guys, good luck for the rest of the day. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. Click the like button if you want to help support us. Shout out to NS Anderson. I appreciate the $10 donation. It means a lot. Really does, so I appreciate it. But yeah, guys, good luck. Thanks for the support. Thanks for the sub, Asadis. Appreciate it, man. I hope you'll join us tomorrow as well. And yeah, guys, good luck for the rest of the day. I'll see you all later.